Hej allihopa! Hey everyone and welcome to another video from Say It in Swedish. I'm your host JOAKIM, and today I wanted to rant a little bit about shyness when speaking a foreign language, because a lot of you struggle with this and I encounter a lot of you, and you don't want to speak Swedish because you're afraid. I don't really know exactly what you're afraid of. I guess you're afraid of people laughing at you, and I wanted to address this in this video. But before we start, obviously, I wanted to remind you of sayitinswedish.com as always, where I got more free content for you and free lessons for learning Swedish. And if you want to support this huge project so that I can pay rent, then become Patreon members. All the links are in the description down below. When learning a foreign language, there are a few key things to think about, like, I don't know, practicing makes the master. You will never be proficient in the language if you don't practice. Just knowing words is not enough. You need to practice and you need to speak so that the words will flow naturally out of you. Right, your brain needs to get adjusted to the language and your mouth so that you will be able to speak fluently. And this is like, here we disregard how well your pronunciation is. Right, important is that the words flow out of you. However, also when speaking about pronunciation, not all bits of pronunciation is important, at least not in the beginning, and I need to get back to my last video, because there I talked about this. For instance, in Swedish we have word accents. They are not important for understanding, so here the speaker needs to focus on getting the stress right. Alright, so that's also one thing to think about. So all in all, you don't need to sound like a native, and that's the key takeaway from this video. It is totally unimportant to be able to sound like a native, because that's mere a party trick, if you may. It's a party trick. If you really need the language, pronunciation is good, but maybe not all bits and pieces of pronunciation is important for you. And when speaking about Swedish, word accent is not that important. Stress is more important, and getting all the vowels right might also not be that important. Now, how do you overcome this shyness of speaking a foreign language? I actually have no idea, because it's something you just have to do, or else you won't improve. So it's something you just have to decide to do. Now you're thinking, well, I'm stupid. Like, not you, but you think that I'm stupid for saying this because I'm a native speaker. But remember this, I learn languages too. And I have been learning German for 17 years. My pronunciation is quite good. However, when I speak to people I don't know, my grammar is super bad and my pronunciation also gets a lot worse. It's up here. It's up here. You want to be perfect. You want to, I don't know. For me it's automatic. Like I guess I want to sound good, but then again, I don't really care, because I just want to get my message across. I got glasses lately, so I went into the store, and my German was so bad, and I thought it was quite interesting. It was interesting for me to observe my own ability just disappearing, right? When I speak to my girlfriend, my German is almost at a native level most of the times. But when I speak to strangers, it's not. So that's also one thing to think about. Even though I have learned German for almost 20 years, the level of my German fluctuates. fluctuates, right? It varies depending on whom I'm speaking to, and I think you could really need to think about that for a second. This means that, like I said, speaking like a native, that's a party trick. It's really not that important. Important is to be understood, and you can be understood if you take bits and pieces of all the pronunciation rules to focus on. Like I said in my last video, and like I've said in this video, stress is a major thing when it comes to Swedish pronunciation, but word accents aren't. But word accent is what most people try to focus on, and they don't know when to use which accent, and they struggle with that. But their focus should be on putting the stress in the right place, and that's it, basically. If you just want to be understood, you want to be able to use Swedish in a professional situation, or day-to-day, you want to move to Sweden to use Swedish, focus on the right things. And now, speaking a foreign language, in this case Swedish, to a native speaker is daunting, obviously, because they speak the language perfectly and you don't. However, you need to practice, so just do it. Secondly, if they laugh, they are idiots, because they spoke the language not from day one, but they grew up with it. So they have a huge advantage. It's not the same thing. What you're doing is a more noble thing, or whatever. It's cooler. You are learning it from scratch, with a lot more effort, right? They just learned it naturally, and that's it. That was effortless for them. And if I want to say that it's not that bad if someone laughs. It's bad if they laugh at you for speaking poorly, for instance, but you need to practice, right? Now, if you're speaking to native Swedes and they are laughing at you, ask them, what's so funny? Maybe they will excuse themselves and tell you this word means this thing when you say it like that, and you will get why it's funny, and it's just a reflex for them. And they are not laughing at you, they are laughing at the situation or the word or the sound or whatever, then you will move on with your lives and you've learned something. However, if you're speaking to people who are laughing at you all the time and telling you sound so funny, they are being shits, get other friends. So yeah, basically this is the video. This is me telling you to just do it. Get going with Swedish, speak to others who are not native speakers, they are in the same boat as you, and then pick native speakers who you trust and who you know will correct you when needed, but won't laugh at you for making an effort. That's just stupid. And what you need to do is to overcome your shyness with, yeah, I've spoken German for 20 years and still can't pull it off all the time. A native pronunciation is for most people just a party trick. It's not necessary for surviving with the language, and that's the key takeaway here. You don't need to sound perfect. It's better to understand the language and to be able to use the language, but you don't need to sound native. That's just a fun thing. It's just a wow factor for some native speakers, basically. So that's the takeaway. Remember that. Yeah. Hopefully you enjoy this little pep talk. Come to our Discord server. Let's have a voice chat together and we will speak some Swedish. And if you don't want to practice your pronunciation yet and practice speaking, you can practice typing with me on that Discord server, in that chat. Links are in the description down below. And if you need to learn more Swedish, check out sayitinswedish.com. And if you want to want this project to survive and support me, become a Patreon member, become a member of the Sweebo squad, or however we want to call it. All right. All the links are in the description down below. And we will see each other there or in another video. As always, take care. Ha det bra. Puss och kram. Vi ses. Hej då!